did you not see the facts when there was still time? To end our addiction, fossil fuel addiction, dependence on future existence, inventions. Activate, advocate, organize, stand up and join the resistance. There will be a reckoning. Mother Earth is threatening us. There's no other choice. Hear our children's voice. Fire, fire, Earth's on fire. Fire, fire, Earth's on fire. Truth is in the science. No more political defiance. Fire, fire, Earth's on fire. Fire, fire, Earth's on fire. Truth is in the science. No more political defiance. Sound the alarm, cause no harm. Storms and rising seas, drought, famines, floods could bring us to our knees. Warning, warning, sound the alarm. Take action for humanity. Stop this insanity. Get clarity. Carbon neutrality. There will be a reckoning. Mother Earth is threatening. There's no other choice. Hear our children's voice. Fire, fire, Earth's on fire. Fire, fire, Earth's on fire. Truth is in the science. No more political defiance. Fire, fire, Earth's on fire. Fire, fire, Earth's on fire. Truth is in the science. No more political defiance.
People ask me what my secret is, I just smile and say, follow me. I'm sitting on top of the world, on top of the world. Life's too short not to really live. I got a big heart, I can let you in. I'm sitting on top of the world, on top of the world. On top of the world. I'm sitting on top of the world, on top of the world. On top of the world. People ask me what my secret is, I just smile and say, live for today. I'm sitting on top of the world, on top of the sun came up and I gotta say, see it in a whole new way. I'm sitting on top of the world, on top of the world. Yeah. On top of the world. Yeah. I'm sitting on top of the world, on top of the world. Yeah. On top of the world. Yeah. I'm sitting on top of the world, on top of the world. People ask me what my secret is. On top of the world. I'm sitting on top of the world, on top of the world. People ask me what my secret is. On top of the world. I'm sitting on top of the world, on top of the world. Yeah, I'm sitting on top of the world, on top of the world. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sitting on top of the world, on top of the world.
Hello world, wake me up to another good morning, time to go. Got that smile upon my face, cause there's excitement in the chase, this I know. Yeah, I'm going for the ride and find myself, I am alive, and I soar. Still I run towards the wind and let the child Every passing day there's more, calling you out to explore. Get up and go. There is joy found in the race, and I feel it in the place where I'm free. And I simply can't deny it, that I feel adventure calling out to me. Yeah, we are all looking for adventure. 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 We are all looking for And I'm living free, living free, living free, and I was meant to be. Living free, living free, living free, and I was meant to be. I'm living free, living free, living free, and I was meant to be free. Meant to be free.
Isang napakagandang hapon sa ating mga climate reality leaders at sa lahat lang nanonood sa ating live sa ating Facebook page. Ako po si Ian Soqueño, isang climate reality leader at research associate ng The Climate Reality Project Philippines na naglilingkod sa inyo bilang host ngayong hapon para sa ating 12th episode ng ating Klimatotohanan webcast series na pinamagatang Bawal ang Plastik, LGUs Braving the Fight Against Plastic Pollution. O baka sabihin nyo, Diyos ko, plastic na naman. Oo, plastic na naman. Gaya lang pagtalakay natin sa climate crisis, hindi rin kaming magsasawang talakayin ang plastic crisis. Pero bakit nga ba? Pero bago sagutin yung tanong na yan, tatawagin ko muna ang ating co-host ngayong hapon na ito. Siya ay isa ring climate reality leader and actually, she just officially joined the Philippine branch as our Luzon coordinator. Siya ay walang iba kundi si Miss Aimee Oliveros. Hello Aim, suking-suki ka na talaga dito sa bilang host ng Klimatotohanan. Balita ko yung mga avid viewers natin malapit na magtayo ng fans club mo.
Grabe naman, talagang fans club. Hello Ian, ako magandang hapon po sa lahat ng ating mga manonood ngayong hapon. Yes, I want to of course formally thank everybody. I'm officially part of the Climate Reality Project Philippines, Luzon coordinator, at ako po ay very thankful to be part of the team. So yes, totoo nga ang chismis, pero hindi about sa fans club. Iyan, syempre fake news ata yan. Pero alam mo ba kung ano ang hindi fake news? Syempre, ito yung kasalukuyang krisis natin sa klima na siyang pinapaigting at pinapalala ng pagkonsumo natin ng plastic. Naku, alam mo, every time usaping plastic, bigla na lang ako lumilitaw eh. 'Di ba? Kaya lagi akong nandyan sa usaping yan eh. And tinanong mo kanina, bakit hindi tayo nagsasawang pag-usapan ang plastic? Yan po ang dahilan. Ang climate change at ang plastic pollution po, talagang konektado po yan sa isa't isa. Kasi magmula sa paggawa hanggang sa pagtapon ng tinatawag nating mga plastics, nagdudulot po yan ng greenhouse gas emissions na siya namang nagpapalala sa global warming at ng climate change. Dahil po dyan, naku, mainit ang pinag-uusapan natin ngayon. Di umano, sinasabi natin, medyo mahina yung pagpapatupad ng ating Ecological Solid Waste Management Act. Pero alam mo Ian, habang tinatalakay natin sa Senado at sa Kamara, 'di ba, ang mga panukalang batas na ito, 'di ba, sa pag-ban at pag-regulate ng single-use plastics, marami naman ang mga LGUs ang mayroon ng ordinansa, 'di ba, sa pagkontrol at paggamit ng single-use plastics.
Yes, Ames, tama ka dyan. Actually, ayon sa Department of Environment and Natural Resources natin, no, meron na raw 488 local government units na merong adopted ordinances that prohibit single-use plastics. Pero alam mo, Ames, for sure, mas malaki pa dapat ang numero na to dahil sa mga bagong ordinansa na naipasa lang iba pa nating LGUs. Kaya naman, sobrang swerte natin din, Aimee, dahil nakakasama natin ngayong hapon ng ilan sa ating mga local leaders na nagsulong ng mga ordinansang yan. In this episode, we will put the spotlight on the experiences and insights of our local leaders na as they work with stakeholders and organizations to craft and implement these ordinances. Pero bago ang lahat, isa munang paalala sa ating mga viewers dito sa Facebook, gaya lang nakagawian natin sa past episodes, maaari din kayo makatanggap ng certificate sa panonood lang episode na to. Una nyo lang gawin, kailangan nyo lang i-comment ang inyong pangalan sa Facebook nitong live stream. Pwede nyo ring dagdagan ng greeting o mensahe kung saan kayo nanonood ngayon. So pwedeng, hello, I'm Ian, I'm watching from Cebu City, ganyan. Second, kailangan nyo lang sagutan yung feedback form na i-share o nakashare na sa post nitong Facebook Live. Pagkatapos itong episode, sagutan nyo lang yung feedback form na yun, tapos isubmit nyo lang yung instructions nandun na rin dun sa feedback form.
Oo, naku, importante yan. No? Thank you so much, Ian, sa mga reminders na yan. So, sa ating mga viewers, naku, alam mo, kung ako sa inyo guys, suggestion ko, get the certificate, di ba? Gawin nyo yan kasi napakaganda ng panel of speakers natin ngayong araw na to. Kaya magandang remembrance yan, di ba? Sa participation ninyong ngayong araw na to. Nakikita ko marami na Ian, no? Marami na yung nagko-comment sa atin. So tuloy-tuloy lang guys. No? We encourage you to type in your questions, your suggestions, and syempre, kung may mga messages naman tayo sa ating mga speakers, sa ating comment section. Para mamaya, pag may oras pa tayo, babasahin po natin yan para sa inyo. Now, huwag na nating patagalin to, Ian. Ako, excited na talaga ako. No? I hope pati ang ating mga speakers excited na rin. So, simulan na po natin ang pagpapakilala sa ating esteemed roster of speakers.
Yes, Aimee, syempre, bilang first speaker natin, yung first speaker natin, he's been in public service for almost 2 decades now, from being San Fernando City's legislator to being its elected current local chief executive. He is also a licensed mechanical engineer. As mayor, he sustained and improved the city's waste management program. He also directed his efforts towards scaling up and institutionalizing the program by expanding it to all barangays, including schools and subdivisions. During his term, the Plastic-Free Ordinance of 2014 was enacted, leading to a complete ban of plastic bags in 2015. So moreover, because of his leadership, San Fernando City recorded high waste diversion rates and earned the recognition of being a zero waste model city. So since 2014 din, San Fernando has been receiving the prestigious Seal of Good Local Governance year after year. We are very proud to have with us today Mayor Edwin Santiago. Magandang hapon, Mayor Ed, salamat po sa inyong pagpapaunlak sa aming imbitasyon ngayong hapon. Please greet our viewers po, and bilang patikim sa ating discussion ngayong araw, maaari niyo po bang sagutin very briefly ito pong panimulang question po namin. Ano po ang plastic para sa inyo or para sa inyong lungsod?
So ang plastic is something to be dispose of, something that stay or last for many years, something that clog waterways, na problema sa buong mundo, problema sa atin, yan ang naninira ng dahil hindi sila natutunaw. So isang malaking problema yan sa ating lahat. Yan ang plastic na dapat bigyan ng pansin o paano properly ang disposal nila, and even i-regulate natin. O yung kung may magagamit na we cannot avoid it, dapat ma-recycle siya. Yun ang plastic na isa lang naman practically bata o ano, yan ang nagka-clog ng mga daanan ng tubig, kaya nasisira ang ating kalikasan o kailugan, at saka yung mismong ocean natin. Saka yung marine life.
Thank you so much, Mayor Edsa. Naku, excited talaga akong malaman, 'di ba? Nakita natin very insightful yung sinabi ni Mayor Edsa kanina. Mamaya alamin natin ano naman yung ginawa nila para labanan nga yung problemang 'yan, lalo sa San Fernando. Okay, naman. Ang susunod na nating panauhin ay kasalukuyang councilor sa Quezon City. Now on her 4th term, she has authored Quezon City's plastic ordinances, namely regulation of the use of plastic bags. Number 2, total banning of plastic bags. Number 3, regulation of the use of single-use plastic. And number 4, total ban on using plastic materials as campaign or posters. Aside from that, she is also a medical doctor by profession. Ayan, ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming Councilor Dorothy Delarmente. Magandang hapon po, Councilor, Konsehala, Doktora Dorothy, Doray. Bumati muna kayo sa ating mga viewers. At
yes.
Mayor Edsa, ma'am, naku, ano po ba ang plastic para sa inyo at para po sa inyong lungsod?
Yes, hi to everybody. Hello sa lahat ng mga manonood ng The Climate Reality Project. Thank you. Siyempre, special shout out sa mga taga Quezon City. Hello. So what is plastic in Quezon City? Let's be realistic. Plastic is light, plastic is durable, and plastic is very convenient for all of us. Pero syempre, yun nga, for Quezon City itself, let's be direct, plastic is also the cause kung bakit po binabaha or grumabe yung baha sa aming LGU. And that is why we had to make measures, we had to pass ordinances para malimitahan po yung paggamit ng plastic dito po sa Quezon City.
Ayan. Salamat, Councilor Doray. Do we
Thank
call
you.
Doray for Councilor Dorothy po?
Doray lang, okay na po yan.
Salamat po. So our next resource person naman po is a 3rd term councilor of Cebu City. He has authored several landmark and progressive legislations. Kasama na doon syempre yung prohibiting single-use plastics in all public events and the prohibiting improper disposal of face masks and PPE. He has also 20 years of NGO work, including serving as the founding executive director for the Center for Participatory Governance, or CPAG, which conducted trainings on participatory local development planning and project implementation and monitoring. So, mga friends, let's all welcome Councilor Alvin Dizon. Sir, good afternoon po, Councilor Alvin. Thank you for joining us again today. Just like to our first 2 guests, please briefly answer our question po. What is plastic for you or your LGU po?
Good afternoon, everyone. Mayong hapon kanatong tanan. First of all, let me thank Climate Reality Project Philippines and Oceana for this invitation. It's a very timely, very important online discussion as a platform to highlight the role of local governments in the fight against plastic pollution. Well, as far as City Ordinance number 2558, which I authored regarding banning of single-use plastics in all public events in the city of Cebu, we have adopted the definition of the UN Environment Program, which defined single-use plastics as those referring to disposable plastics, which include items intended to be used only once before they are thrown away or recycled. In addition, the problem of plastic waste and pollution in our city is highly evident, especially during the rainy season, when tons of plastics clog up our drainage systems and waterways. Despite regulations imposed by our local government, plastic waste remain to be a huge contributor in our city's ever-increasing waste materials. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Councilor Alvin. Naku, simula pa lang, Diyos ko, intro pa lang tayo. Iyan, ang dami ko nang natututunan. What more mamaya, diba? So excited ako for our topic sa susunod na. So yan, kanina syempre napansin po ng ating mga viewers, syempre may representative tayo mula sa Luzon, syempre, diba, kay Mayor Edsa naman. Ngayon, QC, NCR, meron din rep, diba? And then si Councilor Alvin naman for Visayas. Syempre dapat may representative din tayo from Mindanao. Na ang ating susunod na guest ay kasalukuyang chairman ng Davao City Council's Committee on Environment and Natural Resources and the Oversight Committee. He is a lawyer by profession, having finished his studies at the Ateneo de Davao University and admitted to the bar in year 2018. He's also the principal author of the No to Single-Use Plastic Ordinance of 2021 in the city of Davao. Representing the 2nd Legislative District of Davao City, mga kaibigan, ako, let's all welcome Councilor Diosdado Angelo Mahipus Jr. Maayong hapon, Councilor Mahipus. Please greet our viewers as well. And also, naku, sagutin mo rin ang aming katanungan, what is plastic for you or sa inyong LGU po?
Magandang hapon, good afternoon, Ian and Aimee, sa mga kasamahan natin, sina Councilor Alvin, Councilor Dorothy, tsaka kay Mayor Edwin. Sensya na, mukhang ako pala yung pinakabago dito sa mga guests nyo, no? Ako, first termer po ako na konsehal dito sa Davao City at medyo kinakabahan ako yung mga kasama ko, mga experience na talaga, lalo na sa ating laban against sa plastic. Pero nagpapasalamat ako una sa lahat sa Climate Reality Project para sa opportunity na makapaglahad dito sa inyong programa patungkol sa efforts ng Davao City sa ating laban against sa plastic. Now, yung sa ordinansa naman po natin, meron tayong specific definition nun. Pero generally speaking, yung plastic po para sa akin tsaka para sa Davao is isang unnatural, nakakasira sa environment. Tsaka kung sana hindi na natin gamitin, lalo na kung may mga sustainable alternatives na nasa market na, no, na available na. Now, specifically pagdating sa single-use plastic, yun yung kumbaga walang justification para doon eh. Kasi minsan mo lang gamitin, pagkatapos wala na, iiwanan mo na dun sa environment. Dapat talaga wala na yung single-use plastic. So yun ang plastic para sa amin sa Davao. Isang bagay na nakakasira sa environment na kailangan i-regulate o kaya i-prohibit na talaga para naman sa kabutihan ng lahat yun. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you, Councilor Mahipus. Syempre yung platform po namin very much open sa inyo po and sa mga initiatives nyo po on single-use plastics. So our last speaker naman is from the Youth Cluster of the Climate Reality Project Philippines. Siyempre, nag-imbita tayo ng youth representative ngayong hapon na ito para maging reactor sa talakayang magaganap. Para kasi sa amin sa Climate Reality, napaka-importanting bigyan natin ng boses sa mga kabataan sa pagtalakay ng mga malalaking isyong kinakaharap ng ating bayan ngayon. So ngayong hapon, we will be joined by our youth reactor who was awarded by the DNR Environmental Management Bureau as the National Youth Environmental Icon for 2020 for his pioneering work on youth engagement in the fight against single-use plastics in Iloilo. Siyempre, at a very young age of 23, he currently serves as the operations head of the Tigbawan Community Learning Hub, a project of the Office of the Vice President to bridge the gap in the access of quality education among pupils and students during the COVID-19 pandemic. So mga friends, let's all welcome Bryan, Adrian, Camposagrado. Hi Adrian, thank you for joining us today to be the voice of the youth in this very important conversation. Sorry, please greet our viewers then and please answer the question. Ano yung plastic para sa iyo and para sa mga kabataan?
Ayun, mayad nga hapon po. Mayad nga hapon sa aton nga tanan. Good afternoon to all of you. Thank you very much to the Climate Reality Project for giving us an opportunity do sa ating mga kabataan na mapakinggan din sa mga ganitong diskusyon. Kasi sa amin nga, naniniwala kami na dapat parte din yung mga kabataan sa environmental policy making natin. So, it's such a great opportunity for me to be joining our councilors and mayor to be discussing our fight against single-use plastics this afternoon. So siguro para sa akin, syempre yung single-use plastics, gaya din ng sinabi ni Councilor Doray, ito din ay naging parte na kasi ng buhay natin, no, convenience na ng tao. Pero syempre po para sa ating mga kabataan, para sa tao na nasa ground, no, ito po isang hadlang sa tunay na development natin. Sabi nga sa UN, no, ang sustainable development ay isang progress without compromising the quality of life of the future generation to access their own needs. And that, of course, yung single-use plastics ay nagiging hadlang na din po, no, sa aming kaligtasan, sa ating health. Ayun, so agree din po. Maraming salamat po sa ating mga LGU officials na narito ngayon for doing your job, no, para po sa ating kalikasan at sa aming mga kabataan. So kayo po ang aming kung narinig po natin ay pag-asa ang kabataan ng pag-asa ng bayan, pero of course I believe with all of you too, kayo din po yung pag-asa namin kasi kayo din po yung naglalagay ng mga pulisiya natin in place na para ma-follow po at ma-secure yung aming clean and safe environment. So maraming salamat po.
Thank you so much, Adrian. Naku, excited ako mamayang marinig, no? Ang talagang ang boses ng youth very very influential na ngayon iyan 'di ba? So maganda magiging very balanced yung usapan natin ngayong hapon. So simulan na natin ang talakayan natin. Ang una nating segment, mga kaibigan, we will focus our discussions on the current plastic pollution scenario, 'di ba? Sa mga local government interventions to address the problem and the impacts of local anti-single-use plastics regulation in our communities. Ayan. So to frame our discussion, we want to ask our local leaders. Siyempre, unahin natin, 'di ba? Scenario muna tayo, no? Gaano po ba katinding ang problema ng plastic pollution sa inyong mga syudad, 'di ba? And ano po ba specifically yung mga ordinansang inyong naipasa para tugunan po ang mga problemang ito? Kasi itong mga ordinansa kanina nabanggit na rin ni Councilor Alvin. More or less meron po kayong mga national or even global policies or frameworks na napagbasehan. So, simulan po natin syempre kay Mayor Ed ng San Fernando City. Since ang San Fernando City is known to be a zero waste model city. So, going to you, sir, Mayor Ed, ano po ba? 'Di ba? Ano po ba yung naging specific policies niyo on plastic? Naku, magandang matutunan 'yan. Mayor Ed?
So, ang plastic, kung hindi natin manage properly, it will do harm than good. Nasabi ko na kanina, yung kahilugan natin, yung marine resources natin, ang unang maapektuhan yan. So, one of the climate change mitigation and yung adaptation plan natin. So we have to address environmental management. So that is the city na nakita natin na kailangan natin i-regulate o i-ban ang paggamit ng plastic. So noong 2014, so gumawa tayo ng ordinance about the use of sandbag at yung nire-regulate natin. So yung pwedeng tanggalin, sabi nga ni Councilor, kanina dapat ang mga LGU ang gagawa ng mga pamamaraan. On the part of business naman, siyempre maapektuhan sila because of the convenience nila. So, yung lalo na yung gumagamit sa palengke. So, noong 2014, in-start natin yan. Pero, ang full ng plastic ordinance, binan natin ang paggamit ng plastic styrofoam sa ating mga including restaurants, supermarket, sa palengke. At para maging maganda rin yung pag-implement ng RA 9003, so ang mga barangay natin ay nag-isa sa layunin ng ating pagmamando sa ating basura. So, in general, plastic pollution is controlled sa City of San Fernando na nagsimula noong 2014. Ang full implementation is 2015.
Sir, Mayor Edsa, nabanggit nyo kanina kumbaga yung may some sort of resistance siguro from the business communities and yung ibang mga private sector entities ko. Paano po nila paano na resolbahan or parang may consultation po ba with them even before na naipasa yung mga ordinances na ito?
So, alam mo kasi everything as gumawa tayo ng TWG, nagpatuloy tayo sa Mother Earth Foundation para yung natin dyan, yung information, education, dissemination, consultation, and ang paggawa naman batas alam naman ni Councilor Dorothy at saka ni Councilor Mahipus kung paano ang paggawa how we enact law. So, masusing pag-aaral, konsultasyon, public hearing, because lalo na yung sanggunian, must be a good listener. But still, ang kahinatan niyan is what is favorable and what is advantageous always na pwedeng gawa ng local na batas. So nakita natin na mas maigi para sa pagmamanage ng kalikasan na i-regulate at pagbawalan ng paggamit ng single-use plastic. So sa una kasi, there are a lot of resistance. So you have to really enforce the law through proper dissemination and dapat consistent ka dyan. Consistent ka. Kasi binigyan mo naman sila ng palugit na 1 year. So there are instances na wherein we cannot avoid plastic. Like yung mga containers, we are using containers. There are a lot of things that ginagamit natin sa plastic sa kasalukuyan. There are no substitute. Kaya regulate lang natin yan. Kaya dapat pag na-regulate mo na yung plastic, na-stop mo na yung paggamit ng mga single-use plastic. So, the next thing you should do is talagang araw-araw parte na ng buhay ng mga tao. Kasi kung titignan mo, plastic is anywhere. At even yung mga kalapit bayan mo, kung hindi tatapunan ka ng plastic din saka mamimili sila sa ibang bayan, dala-dala yung plastic. Diba? So that is one problem. And you come up with a technology, yung tinatawag nating mga recyclable waste to something that we can process using new technology na hindi nakakasira sa kalikasan like pyrolysis na hindi masyadong naapektuhan ng climate. But because plastic is nanggaling sa petrochemical yan. It's just a petrochemical. So ibalik mo uli sa pinanggalingan niya. So there is a new technology now na mga cutting edge na regulate mo, binabawal mo yung mga single use at we come up with a technology. So wala nang, parang we can manage if we cannot avoid the use of plastic. So ang ano dyan is bawasan lang. Bawasan ang paggamit ng plastic and you regulate it. And you come up with a process na recycle mo and also nako-convert mo uli siya into something na, na magagamit. So that's
Sige.
the process.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor, balikan natin yung discussion later on. But sir, pwedeng move forward sila ng konti para mas clear yung audio po nila when speaking po. Sige po, sir, balikan natin yung discussion later on. But from you po, dumako naman po tayo kay Councilor Doray sa Quezon City naman po, no? Councilor Doray, what made you siguro and the rest of the City Council pass ordinances to regulate the use of single-use plastics in your city po? And just like what I asked po to Mayor Ed, ano po yung siguro kung nagkaroon po ba ng mga resistances from particular sectors and how did you overcome po that? In Quezon City, I think merong 4 landmark na plastic ordinances po, no?
Ayan, can you hear me?
Yes po, ma'am.
Okay. Yung first plastic ordinance that I passed in 2012, what inspired us or what made us, what convinced us to pass it? Kasi if you remember the Ondoy, yung bagyong Ondoy back in 2009, di ba? Ang daming lugar sa Quezon City na nabaha na hindi naman nababaha at all in history. At nung humupa yung baha, puro plastic all over. Sa roof, sa mga puno. So that was then when we realized na grabe na pala yung amount ng plastic sa waste stream natin. Not only dun sa dump site, which is yung Payatas dump site na ginagamit namin doon, kung hindi pati sa waste stream. And yun nga, because of that bagyo, ang dami ring namatay at nawala ng hanap-buhay at ng bahay. And when we conducted the waste analysis characterization study back during that time, mga 2011, 2010, na-realize namin na ang volume ng plastic bags sa waste stream sa Quezon City is roughly 719 cubic meter or to estimate 10-wheeler truckload na puno ng plastic a day ang na-generate sa Quezon City. So because of that, sabi namin sa tingin ko kailangan nating gumawa ng mga ordinansa para ma-regulate o ma-control yung plastic. So ang first ordinance po natin ginawa, that was back in April 2012, yung regulation of the use of plastic bags. So hindi po muna namin binan ang paggamit ng plastic bag. Kumbaga ni-regulate. So ibig sabihin na to, kung bibili sila sa mga mall o sa mga grocery stores, kung gusto nilang lagyan ng yung mga binili nila ng plastic bag, magbabayad sila ng 2 pesos per plastic bag. And yung plastic bag na gagamitin na yon, hindi dapat manipis yun. Dapat minimum of 15 microns. Kailangan makapal enough para ma-reuse ulit yung plastic bag. Tapos, yung 2 piso naman na i-generate dun sa sale ng plastic bag, kailangan gamitin ng mall or ng supermarket for their environmental projects. So that was actually the start of our plastic ordinances in Quezon City. And then, at in-explain ko rin naman during that time na bakit kasi ang dami nagre-reklamo. Bakit kailangan pa kaming magbayad ng 2 piso? Bakit hindi na lang i-total ban? We have to be realistic. Ang mga Pilipino ayaw nila, we are very resistant to change. And kung ito-total ban natin to, parang baka mahirapan tayo kasi nga ang daming nagre-reklamo. Ang daming nagre-reklamo sa change. So what we did was yun nga, i-regulate muna natin para masanay ang mga tao na pag mag-shopping sila or mag-grocery sila, magbaon sila ng sarili nilang mga bag o ng mga eco bag. So basically, the idea of this ordinance is lifestyle change for our people. Kumbaga, lifestyle change for our shoppers na pag bumili kayo, kung gusto nyong makatipid, magbaon kayo ng sarili nyong mga eco bag. And it proved effective. So eventually, we explained to them naman na eventually we will do a total ban. So 7 years later, noong 2019, doon na po kami nag-total ban ng plastic bags sa mga grocery stores and sa mga malls. So that's the start of our plastic ordinances. And then same year, 2019, we also introduced the banning of single-use plastics. Again, ayaw nating biglain ulit ang mga consumers. So yung sa total ban naman natin dito, pag take out sa mga fast food or sa mga restaurants, they can still get plastic containers or plastic spoon and fork. Pero pag magda-dine-in sila, yon, pinagbabawal na natin ang single-use plastics. And also sa mga hotels and sa mga motels, 'di ba? They use mga small bottle containers for shampoos and for soap. Yon, kasama sa ordinance, bawal na rin yon. So they have to use yung mga refillable na mga bottles sa mga hotels. So basically that's a short summary of our plastic ordinances here in Quezon City.
Thank you so much, Councilor Doray. Mamaya alamin pa natin, no? Pero nakita natin, Ian, sabi nga ni Councilor Doray, talagang meron siyang may solution, 'di ba? May problema eh. Kaya kailangan natin siyang gawan ng solusyon. At ganoon ang ginawa, 'di ba? Ganoon ang ginawa nila sa Quezon City, of course with Councilor Doray. Okay. So, let's learn naman, 'di ba, from the experiences of Cebu City. Councilor Alvin, ano naman po yung specific ordinance of your city when it comes to single-use plastic? At bakit po kaya nakita ninyo ang kahalagahan ng ordinansang ito sa pag-enact, no, sa particularly sa lungsod ninyo? And ano po yung mga experience natin in terms of enacting this policy? I think Councilor ayan. Okay. Yan. Loud and clear
Thank
po.
you, Aimee, for the question. Yes. Well, first of all, just to give you a context, no? Sa ngayon po, yung single-use plastics dito po sa Cebu City account to at least 40% of the total garbage produced, no, in Cebu City. Largely because of its makeup, we all know that single-use plastics would take millions of years to disintegrate and decompose. Sabi ko nga kanina when we started off our webcast, yung plastic waste is one of the major causes of our clogged drainage systems and polluted rivers, which lead to flooding in the downstream areas of our city. Worse, the ones who are severely affected when our city is heavily flooded are our poor communities, yung mga nakatira sa mga informal settlements. So given this reality, it is of paramount concern that the Cebu City government should consider the plastic problem as both urgent and imperative. So we have to pass and implement measures in order to cut back on the utilization of single-use plastic products on the premise that plastic pollution is not only a matter of public health, environment, and climate concern, but also one of social justice when you have the city's poor who are seriously affected during heavy flooding. Yung experience naman po namin sa pagpasa ng mga ordinances related to banning or regulating single-use plastic, the ordinances on single-use plastic have undergone consultations. No? Nabanggit po kanina ni Mayor Ed na Malaga na may consultation, no? Public consultation sa mga ordinansa. Lalo na kami dito sa Cebu City, especially my legislative office, we believe, Aimee, in the principle of collaborative legislation. And this has been our way when it comes to policy making. We believe that the problem of plastic pollution requires multi-sectoral and community action approaches. That is why we always make it a point to invite various stakeholders to give their valuable input on our legislative measures. Lastly, as far as City Ordinance 2343, no, which regulates the use and sale of plastic shopping bags, during the public hearing of this measure, the resistance was articulated by the business sector, no? Specifically the Cebu Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and they contested the practicability of the ordinance since, according to them, using alternative to plastic such as paper bags or eco-friendly materials is more costly, no? So mas magasto daw, sabi ng mga business groups dito sa Cebu. However, when they have fully understood the intent, the spirit of the measure, as it relates to the anti-plastic pollution campaign of the city and the global issues on climate change and sustainability, the ordinance was eventually passed, and it is now being implemented on phases. At present, Aimee, Cebu City regulates the use and sale of plastic shopping bags 3 times a week. So every Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. Next year, we plan to add 1 or 2 days until we reach full banning. So yan lang po sa ngayon.
Wow, salamat Councilor Alvin. Ang ganda lang ng shinare po nila dun sa pag-ban on single-use plastics. Pumunta naman tayo sa Davao City. Councilor Mahipus, ano po yung experiences niyo naman po sa pag craft and pag-implement po ng ordinance po nila sa Davao City? Meron din po bang mga resistances gaya lang sinabi ng ating mga previous speakers po, or and ano po yung ibang mga naging feedback po from your constituents po?
Okay. Salamat Ian, no. Dito naman sa amin medyo iba yung yung sitwasyon, yung scenario. Kasi yung plastic dito, based sa aming waste characterization, hindi masyado malaki compared sa ibang solid waste na na-generate sa Davao City. In fact, dito, I think 50% biodegradable, 19% is the recyclable. Tapos, itong plastic, although hindi siya ganun kalaki compared sa ibang na-generate na waste, pero napansin din namin na ito yung isa sa pinaka-pollutive talaga na waste, no, because it finds its way doon sa bodies of water, and minsan andun talaga nakikita mo kasi hindi naman natutunaw yung plastic. So way back 2010, during the term of our president as city mayor, nagkaroon na talaga kami nung first single-use plastic reduction effort namin sa city of Davao. Yung solid waste management ordinance namin, binawal yung paggamit ng polystyrene foam, yung styro, tsaka ng non-biodegradable containers for the food and beverage. Tapos dun sa mga grocery, ang inalaw lang namin dito yung paper bags, yung cloth bags, yung indigenous materials, yung corrugated boxes, tsaka yung biodegradable plastic bags. So 2010, we required the grocery to comply, no? Kasi yung the same yung problem pagdating dun sa clogging up of drainage. Tapos nung 2018, si Mayor Sara naman nagpalabas ng executive order. Sabi niya, ipagbawal na natin lahat ng disposable items, especially dito sa mga meetings natin sa government tsaka mga official activities. So mula noon, yung LGU hindi na gumagamit ng mga disposable plastic items sa mga events namin. Kaya lang, sabi niya, kailangan i-expand yan. So they submitted a proposed resolution before the City Council for us to enact the SUP ordinance of Davao City to expand the coverage of the regulation. So right now, we successfully approved the current SUP ordinance, which covered 13 single-use plastic products. No, if I may, ito maganda kasi medyo binasa namin yung mga ordinansan ng kasamahan natin, and we tried our best to tweak it to make it adaptive sa local conditions po namin. So right now, for the information of everybody, the coverage of our ordinance are the plastic drinking cups, the plastic ice cream cups, including the lids, the condiment or sauce containers, the stirrers, all types of cutleries, the straws, the plate or meal box, tsaka yung mga clamshell packaging na plastic, and the pastry box, the egg containers, the hand gloves, including the bantings that we use during festa, and the balloon sticks. Ito lahat po, sir, niregulate po natin, binawalan natin dito sa City of Davao in all types of events, may it be public or private event, tsaka kahit sa domestic usage, hindi na rin natin inaalaw. Pero meron po tayong mechanism lang na inadapt kasi tama yung sabi ni Councilor Alvin, yung food and beverage industry natin, medyo may concern sila pagdating sa ganito. It will be disruptive sa kanilang economic activity. So what we did was we allowed them to continue provided that after 1 year from the effectivity, wala na talaga. Meaning to say, continue in a sense that they can use the SUP during the interim period provided that there is no commercially available alternative yet. Pag meron ng alternative for the cups, for the stirrers, for all the 13 items, they are not allowed to use the single-use plastic. And if ever they are allowed because of the lack of alternatives, they must follow the principle of polluters must pay. So they are assessed the 5 peso environmental fee for each item to discourage the end users and consumers to avail. Kasi hindi lang po, I understand the conditions sa Quezon City, no? They are covering the takeouts. Dito, even for the dine-in, I'm sorry. Dito, even for takeouts, we are trying to already inform the public that you cannot use the SUP 1 year from now, except for the interim period, if you want, but you have to pay something because polluters must pay. And ito pong mechanism, Ayan and Aimee, we thought of this just to cushion the effect of the regulation and also to allow the market to adapt doon sa demand aspect and the supply capability of the alternatives. But our effort is really to campaign for reusable items, not really the disposable items. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Councilor Mahipus. Nako, talagang very expansive, no? Sinare pa talaga ni Councilor yung list, which is good, no? Kasi maganda yan, dapat nagsisimula yan, di ba? I think part din dapat yan of the Ecological Solid Waste Management Act, dapat identified yan before, di ba? And I think yan yung naging priority, maganda naging priority din ng Davao City with Councilor Mahipus. So maraming salamat po. When you think about it, Ian, ang ganda nung level of discussion natin kasi you see, no, nakikita mo yung passion from our from our local leaders. Talagang nakita mo na talagang may drive. Nakita natin yung karanasan nila. Kaya naman nasulong po yung mga ordinansang yan, 'di ba? Dahil po sa drive, 'di ba? At sa willpower ng ating mga local leaders and syempre ng ating mga LGUs. Gayunpaman, sa mga nabahaging ito so far, nakita natin na iisa talaga yung layunin natin, which is tugunan yung lumalalang problema natin sa plastic. Kaya naman, ang susunod nating tanong sa ating mga panauhin is, nakita na po natin, nalaman natin ano nga po ba yung mga ordinansa, 'di ba, ng bawat LGU sa paglaban sa single use at sa plastics. Ngayon naman, alamin naman po natin ano po kaya yung impact so far, 'di ba? Kasi nakita natin kung bakit ba nagsimula yung ordinance. Ngayon, alamin naman natin ano po ba yung naging impact ng mga ordinances na ito sa inyong communities in terms of public health, safety, ecosystems, at job generation, 'di ba? Magandang alamin 'yan. Meron po ba kayong comparison mula nung una, bago pa ninyo patuparin yung ordinansa ninyo, in terms of consumption at waste, mula noon hanggang ngayon? Ayan, simulan ulit natin kay Mayor Ed. Nasaan ba si Mayor Ed? Gusto kong marinig ang kanyang thoughts dito. Diba, Ian? Akong ganda ng topic eh. Mayor Ed.
Oo, ang ganda nga ng mga natin at saka nadinig ko si Councilor, maganda yung niya eh. Si Councilor.
Yes.
At saka si Councilor ng Quezon City, si Dr.
Oo. Loud and clear na kayo, Mayor Ed. Gustong-gusto namin marinig yung boses nyo, kaya perfect na po yan ngayon.
So ang ganito, Aimee, the impact of the ordinance is it's quite positive after 2 years upon the implementation. Yung makikita mo, yung pumupunta sa palengke, may dala-dala ng yung mga basket, yung mga reusable basket, yung dati. Makikita mo, ibalik mo lang yung dati. Yung mga piece net, bayong, even And also yung SM, ang nakakatuwa dito, Aimee, yung SM na napakalaki, yung SM Pampanga, kalahati nun is not San Fernando eh. So yung hindi sa San Fernando, gumagamit sila ng plastic. Yung sa amin, hindi. So lahat, nakakatuwa nga eh. So sabi ko, kung ako sa inyo, sabi ko, para hindi na malito. Kasi pag namili ang tao sa kabila, yung SM buo. So, in short, the impact is really maganda. Ang ating is from 70%, naging 98%. Yung mga fast food chain, wala nang gumagamit na styrofoam, naging paper carton na. So, wala nang straw, wala nang plastic cups. So, that is the time na makikita mo na lalong tumataas yung ng residual, from residual to recyclable. So, we got our waste diverted talaga down to 80%, 75 to 80%. So, makikita mo, that is the benefit. Another thing is yung mga plastic na nakukuha ng mga MRF natin. So, nagiging livelihood pa at kinukuha ng cement factory. So, that is one thing good. So, nagiging plastic tayo. So, masasabi natin na we really manage yung, we can manage plastic. Lalo na ngayon, nasa pag-aaral na kami na using new technology, nasa TWG na, we will recycle yung plastic into usable oil again. And also, yung mga used oil naman, that's another topic, Aimee. So, magagamit ulit. So, darating ang panahon, ang basura ma-manage really. Lalong-lalo na yung plastic.
Wow, ang ganda lang mga shinare niyo, Mayor Ed. For sure, maraming mga LGUs sa atin na sana nakikinig ngayon sa atin ngayon na pwedeng i-adopt naman sa mga LGUs nila. Dumako naman tayo sa Quezon City kay Councilor Dorothy po. Ma'am, ano po yung mga naging epekto or impact ng plastic ordinances nila sa komunidad in terms of siguro public health or gaya lang sinabi ni Mayor Ed sa kanina na tumaas yung waste diversion rate nila, dumami yung fast food chains na hindi na gumagamit ng single-use plastics. Ano po yung pwede nilang maibahagi tungkol dito?
Yes, actually, sa QC, similar to Mayor Ed, nung after the 2012 after the 2012 ordinance, parang nakilala na talaga ang QC na bawal ang plastic sa Quezon City. So even if pwede pa gumamit, magbabayad ka lang ng 2 pesos, kumbaga yung lifestyle ng mga taga Quezon City, alam nila sa utak nila na pag magmimili ako, kailangan nagbaon ako ng sarili kong eco bag. So we've been known sa QC na gano'n, na bawal ang plastic for the past 9 years and tumaas ang rate ng usage ng mga eco bags, not only sa mga grocery stores but as well as sa mga markets nga. Nabanggit nga ni Mayor Ed yung mga dating net na mga lalagyanan nung araw, bumalik ulit sa Quezon City. Well, with regards to our recent ordinance regarding single-use plastics, I think I will jump into the next question na. We passed it 2019. It's supposed to be implemented 2020, but because of the pandemic, we had to push it a year back. So ngayon pa lang namin i-implement yun. So siguro after next year, I will come back to you and update you on the results of our single-use plastic ordinance. Kasi nga, yun nga, yung matinding balakid ngayon sa ordinansa natin ito is yung pandemic. Yun.
Thank you so much, Councilor. O sige, imbitahan natin ulit si Councilor next year, Ian, para malaman natin ano ba ang naging before and after. Pero very excited kami. I hope our speakers also read the comments kasi nakikita po namin yung mga comments nila. Talagang nakikita nila from different areas. They say that they're using, let's say QC, talagang gumagamit na kami ng mga eco bag, di ba? So maganda, nakikita talaga natin yung impact, no? Not just from the LGUs perspective, but pati syempre sa mga consumers, di ba? So maganda, very, very insightful yung mga comments. So thank you so
Can
much.
Can I add one thing pala?
Sure.
I forgot to mention kasi one of our plastic ordinances din back in 2013 naman kasi may time na nauso yung mga hindi tarpaulins yung mga plastic campaign materials. Gusto kong i-add to kasi kampanya na naman next year. So nung 2013 dumami yung plastic campaign materials na hindi kasi yung tarpaulins pwede mo pang magamit yun eh. It can be used pang takip, pang cover, lahat. Pero kasi yung plastic campaign materials, hindi mo na magagamit yun. It's considered plastic. So, noong 2013, nagpasa din kami ng ordinansa sa Quezon City na bawal ang plastic campaign materials. So, dito sa amin, pag election, either tarpaulin ka or karton ka or papel. Kasi nga parang kami ang nagpasa ng ordinansa against plastic. Tapos kami rin mismo yung lalabag dahil yung mga campaign materials namin puro plastic. So, yun. Gusto ko rin i-add yun kasi I guess pwede ring ma-implement sa mga ibang mga cities natin yon, lalo na at kampanyahan na naman next year. Yun lang. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Dore. Oo nga, magandang ano yan, magandang segue po yan, especially nalalapit na, 'di ba, ang election. So maganda po yan, magandang initiative po yan. So maraming salamat, Councilor Dore. Naku, mapunta naman po tayo sa Cebu City. Yan. Alamin naman natin kay Councilor Alvin. Have you already monitored the positive impacts of your ordinance? No, similar din po sa mga questions natin sa ating dalawang speakers. Ano din po yung naging impact, 'di ba, ng ating ordinance sa ating LGU?
Well, as far as our ordinance regulating plastic shopping bags, we have seen how our business establishments and the general public are coping with the changes. Totoo yung sabi kanina ni Councilor Duray na yung behavior modification talaga is a protracted and sometimes a very painful process, no? Kasi yun nga, plastics have become part of our daily life and people have reached out to a point where life without plastics is unthinkable, no? So, but with sustained education and information campaigns coupled with giving incentives for compliance, we are very positive that we could achieve our goal of making the ban 7 days a week, no? Hopefully by next year. Speaking about our ordinance on regulating single-use plastics in public events, no? This is a newly passed measure, and we hope to see this measure implemented hopefully this year, Aimee, no? In the area of public health, we have another ordinance which I authored, City Ordinance number 2605, an ordinance prohibiting the improper disposal of face masks and COVID-19 related protective gears and products. This measure, which was passed by the City Council at the height of the pandemic, aims to ensure the ecological management of COVID-19 waste and to promote waste workers' health and safety. As we know, the COVID-19 pandemic has resulted in the increased consumption and disposal of face masks and PPE. So this ordinance na pinapasa po namin dito sa Cebu City prohibits and penalizes the improper disposal of face masks and other items used to counter the transmission of COVID-19 virus. In the area of job generation, the city of Cebu always welcomes creative endeavors, no, that contribute solutions to help address climate change. Very recently, Aimee, the city government commended and supported the exemplary work of an NGO here in Cebu, the NGO named the 12 Basket Movement, no, for their project which helps in the fight against plastic pollution through their plastic barter stores, which accept plastic waste from street dwellers and informal settlers in exchange for food, clothes, and other items, no, among others. So this project is very laudable and must be recognized and promoted by the local government in order to invite similar initiatives from the private sector, schools, and barangays to help the city in managing our plastic waste problem.
Ayan, thank you, Councilor Dizon. Ang ganda na yung mga plastic ordinances na parang very reflective din of our situation now. Now na we're figuring in dito sa COVID-19 pandemic. And with the rise of siguro nga yung through online shopping and the use of mga single-use plastics, sobrang relevant ng mga plastic ordinances natin ngayon. Dumako naman tayo sa Davao City kay Councilor Mahipus naman. Sir, alam naman natin na siguro very young pa yung plastic ordinance natin. I think it was in March this year po na naipasa yung ordinance natin. But so far po, ano po yung naging epekto or impact po nito sa pagpapatupad ng inyong ordinansa po?
Well, originally it was scheduled for passage talaga nung February 2020. Tapos nagka-ECQ na kami nung March. Hindi nga kami nakakapag-session noon. Tapos humingi din ng yung mga nasa industry, yung mga nasa egg tray producers na bigyan muna sila ng panahon kasi sa pandemic. Kaya medyo na delay. Pero tama ka, bago lang, hindi pa natin nagigauge talaga yung effective, yung pagiging effective nung proposal nung ordinance natin. Pero generally speaking, yung tao naman very receptive, no, because they understand na we have to do something with regard to the single-use plastic talaga. Kasi dito nakikita mo sa amin madaming mga bukuhan ang ginagamit yung disposable plastic cups. Minsan lang ginagamit tapos tinatapon na. Tsaka maraming talaga, yung lalo ng mga millennials, ito yung hinihingi nila. Kaya sabi ko nga sa food and beverage industry, sabi ko, you have no choice but to cooperate and adapt. Kasi ito ang hinihingi ng tao. And just recently, I had a meeting with suppliers ng mga national food and beverage establishment. Sabi ko sa kanila, hanapan nyo ng paraan kasi hindi na talaga kayo papayag dito sa Davao ng mga plastic na single use para sa inyo. Sorry na lang kasi ito yung policy ng aming mayora para sa environment. So, yun ang nangyari. Okay naman daw, hanapan nyo ng paraan.
Thank you so much, Councilor Mahipus. So, talagang, lalo pagka lalo pag nakikita talaga natin that there is really, drive to really push for ordinances such as this. Nabanggit nga ni Councilor Mahipus, especially sa mga millennials, kagaya natin, iyan, gusto ko maging millennial. Kaya alamin naman natin ngayon, dahil meron tayong millennial dito sa ating panel. Naku, puntahan naman natin ngayon si Adrian. Bago natin i-share ang segment ito, let's hear it from our youth reactor kay Adrian. So for Adrian, alam ko talagang tutok na tutok ka sa mga sapin natin ngayon. I just wanna ask you, ano kaya ang mga komento, suhestyon at reaction mo dun sa mga ibinahagi ng ating mga local leaders? And what is your take? What is the youth's take on our discussion so far?
Okay, so ayun, first of all, maraming pong ulit salamat sa ating mga LGU officials na gumagawa ng mga ganitong actions. Dito po, may mga na-struck lang po ako, doon sa Quezon City, it took them 7 years to actually implement na the total ban. We started it years ago pero hindi pa po ganyan kabilis yung total banning, in which I believe it's also essential. Kasi doon nga sa naging discussion din po ngayon, narinig ko po ilang beses po sa kanila yung naging consultation, yung process of consultation doon sa mga tao nila, which is actually part din sa naman ng ating paggawa ng process ng pagpasa ng mga ordinances, yung public consultation. Pero iba po kung nakikinig po talaga yung mga politiko natin doon sa mga suggestion na nangyayari during public consultations. Ako po ay isang policy lobbyist din dito po sa Iloilo. Meron po kaming program dito kung saan nagtitrain po kami ng mga kabataan na magsulat ng ordinansa para po sa environment. So para po sa akin, isang napakalaking bagay na nabibigyan po natin ng pagkakataon yung tao. Sinabi din po ni Consi Mahipus ng Davao na napaka-importante yung dapat napapakinggan natin yung suggestion. Wala pong magagawa yung ating mga manufacturers companies dahil ito po yung hinihingi ng tao. And I'm very happy that we have legislators like you na who are strong, who are firm enough na tumayo po sa amin para po sa amin. One thing that I also loved about the discussion was the discussion on the lifestyle change, no, the goal na sa lifestyle change natin. True na it is part of our process, no, of our campaign for against this plastic pollution, but I also love it because hindi po natin nami-miss na i-point out that our companies, that manufacturers or plastic companies in your own LGUs, in your municipalities and cities have a role to play as well, no? That lifestyle change is not just about the change, the lifestyle of the consumers, but as well as the perspectives of our companies. Because at the end of the day, yung ating mga tao naman po, if they are receptive of our policies like this na na-implement na ngayon, for sure, know that the only thing that we have to do soon is to actually rethink, no, to make our businesses sustainable na kung ang problem natin ay plastic, siguro kung ako po yung company, mag-iisip na po ako ng paraan kung paano ako makakasali sa mga ganitong mga actions, no. So ayun, maraming salamat po. I'm really excited. May isang oras pa yata po no ng diskusyon at marami na po akong naririnig. Sana po ay napapakikinggan din tayo ng mga LGUs namin dito sa Iloilo. Actually po meron pa kaming provincial ordinance po for single-use plastics na authored by board member Val Serag. And here in our municipality, I just would like to share it. Last June 2019, meron po kaming organization kasi yung The Strong Heroes. Every year ay nagkakaroon kami ng program kung saan nag-i-invite po kami ng speakers, scientists to talk about single-use plastic sa mga kabataan. Tapos yung mga kabataan po ay tinuturuan namin magsulat ng ordinansa. So yung naisulat po na ordinansa doon, dahil po students, most of our participants were students, yung naging proposed ordinance nila ay yung pagbawal ng plastic sa mga paaralan. So noong 2019, ay nagpasa po ng ordinance yung aming LGU na din pagbabawal din po ng mga single-use plastics in all educational institutions. Dito po yan sa bayan ng Tigbawan sa Iloilo. So we hope that yung provincial ordinance po naman, yan din yung nasabi kanina na one of the naging hindrance sa pag-implement ng mga polisiyang ito ay yung pandemic na sana po'y matapos na. Kasi po meron din pong naipasa last year. So kaso lang because of the pandemic ay naantala din po yung implementasyon niya. So we hope to hear more from you because ayun just like what I have said earlier, we need you as well. No, thank you very much for listening to your people. Thank you very much for hearing the call of advocates of us, of the young people. Ayan si Councilor Mahipus, hindi po niya na-miss to mention the millennials, the young people of today. So thank you very much for considering us even in your discussion this afternoon.
Thank you so much, Adrian. Alam mo, every time talaga nakakarinig ako ng youth rep natin, iyan talagang na-inspire ako. Very passionate sila, very driven sila. And I really hope all of our councilors and mayors, of course, and all of the LGUs, take into consideration talaga yung voice, diba, nila. Kasi talagang very insightful yung mga kabataan sa ngayon. So thank you so much, Adrian. Relax ka lang dyan, babalikan ka namin mamaya, diba? Gusto namin marinig pa later ang mga sasabihin mo sa ating next segment. But bago tayo pumunta dyan, mga kaibigan, before we proceed with our next segment, of course, here are some reminders. Okay, una po, attention sa ating mga climate reality leaders. Sa susunod po na linggo, kami po ay magro-roll out na ng tinatawag nating Capacity and Needs Assessment Survey para po sa lahat ng ating mga Pinoy climate reality leaders. Tinatawagan po namin ang lahat na kung maaari po ay sagutan natin ang survey na ipapadala po sa inyong nakaregister na email address. Dahil po, ang pagsagot ninyo sa survey na ito po ay mahalaga para madisenyo po namin kung paano pa kayo madadevelop capacity building-wise. Kaya sana po sagutan nyo yan para po makatulong, 'di ba? Para malaman namin kung paano pa po namin kayo masusuportahan 'di ba kagaya ni Adrian, sa mga inisyatibo nyo bilang mga CRLs. No, bago tayo mag-proceed, Ian, no, gusto ko lang palang bumate. Happy 1 year na pala, no? Tomorrow, I think, is the 1 year anniversary ng mga nag-global training last year, 2020. So sa mga kapwa CRLs, kung na nag-join last year dun sa training, happy anniv sa inyo lahat. So Ian, go ahead.
Wow, Aimee, happy anniversary!
Yes.
Climate reality leaders sa atin. Yun nga, yung survey na yan, Aimee, very important talaga. Pero isa pang importante, Aimee, is yung pagbuo natin ng natitirang mga cluster within our community. And this is why we would like to remind yung mga climate reality leaders natin to sign up to the cluster that you want to support based on your initiatives, advocacy, and or expertise. If you want to be part ng human security cluster, food security cluster, transport subcluster, and water sufficiency cluster, just check your email for the instructions on how to be part of that cluster. Siyempre, abangan din po yung announcement mula sa branch kung kailan magaganap yung strategic planning sessions natin for that clusters.
Oo, tama ka dyan. Ian, lastly, naku, itong cluster na to gusto ko sanang sumali pero mukhang hindi na ako abot, no? Lastly, meron po tayong announcement from our youth cluster coordinators. We are looking for youth climate reality leaders who are willing to work on our youth-led anti-single-use plastic campaign called What's Up? Ngayon po ang araw ng last day to register as volunteers. Kaya please sign up through tinyurl.com/WhatsApp signups until 11:59 p.m. lang po yan today. Kaya sana mag-register na po kayo. If you have further questions and inquiries about this project, feel free to contact Danny Madriaga or Ivana Joaquin through this email, youthcluster@climatereality.ph.
Yan. Thank you, Aimee. So ngayon, let's proceed naman sa second segment ng ating discussion with our resource speakers. So for this part, we will focus on yung implementation ng local single-use plastics regulations nila with focusing on the partnerships and initiatives with other organizations, the private sector, national entities towards a plastic-free Philippines then, and of course within their community. So to start this discussion, we will ask our local leaders kung ano yung siguro naging major challenges or hurdles sa pag-implement ng kanilang respective plastic ordinances. Ano yung mga gaps na na-identify nila so far, and based on that initial analysis, ano yung support na kakailanganin pa nila from national government agencies, civil society organizations, private sector, or from regular citizens. Siguro yung mga support na to help them implement and to address more yung plastic waste nila sa kanilang community. So let's start with Mayor Ed. Sir?
Okay, ayan. So, marami rin tayong along the way challenges na inaharap dito, like lalo na ngayong pandemic, dahil dumami ang use ng single use. Mas alam mo naman ang plastic is yan ang paborito ng COVID. Nag-i-stay siya ng matagal di ba? Sa pinakamatagal na stay, glass or plastic So, pero dumami ang plastic dahil yung mga take-out, yung mga ngayon, pag nagse-serve ng pagkain per individual so, everything is disposable. So, yan ang inaano natin ngayon so, the city is still in continuous in the implementation of the ordinance through inspection and monitoring. So, kaya maraming nape-penalize din at the height of their, kung hindi mo naman gagawin yun, balik tayo sa dati So sabi ko nga, in everything na ginawa mo, it needs follow-up and follow-through. And there is thing na lalo paigtingin. So, dito ayan is sa ating mga kasamaan ay yung ano ng the full implementation of being a plastic free, it needs the support ng mag-umpisa sa national, including yung mga non-government organization, yung mga lalo na yung sandbag and styrofoam. So, yan ang pinakamaganda sa lahat ng natin. Yung lahat ay kasama pati eskwelahan tsaka ano. So the challenge here is how to sustain yung ating programa natin. Yan ang challenge sa lahat eh. So still we need the support of the lahat ng government and lahat ng stakeholder natin para lalong mamando natin ayan ang ano, so we can say that kung ang buong Pilipinas ay sasama sa layunin natin. So the Philippines, magkakaroon tayo ng mawawala yung problema natin, lalo na ang one of our source in terms of food ano natin is our marine. Pupunta lahat yan sa ano sa ating kadagatan di ba? So pag tayo ay nagsama-sama dyan through the advocacy and implementation at yung mga LGUs ay gumalaw dyan, babalik yung kagandahan ng Pilipinas. So, masasabi natin, the Philippines is a
Mayor Ed, quick follow-up lang po. Sir, I read kasi an article about yung partnership nila with Mother Earth Foundation and how they help po yung pag-increase nga po ng waste diversion sa San Fernando City. Sir, we would just like to know siguro kung ano yung space nga ng mga organizations such as Mother Earth Foundation and other civil society organizations in helping the city po siguro support your goal towards zero waste and
well, siyempre yung technical support ng Mother Earth plus yung on the ground kasama sila in order to motivate. We are now talking of kanina parang ang batas natin it has the penalty clause na yung mga first offense, katulad namin, values formation, second offense, 1,000 to 3,000, and also the cancellation of business permit. Now, it is a motivation, ina-award natin ngayon yung mga taong sumusunod at may livelihood sa plastic. Yan ang ano ng kagandahan ng Mother Earth at saka yung mga international yung nag-a-advocate nito. So we are being recognized sa Malaysian Consumers Protection, International Consumer Protection, na rin-recognize nila ang San Fernando. So it add values. Yan ang tulong ng mga non-government organization. Kaya ang Mother Earth, malaking tulong yan. Sina Froilan at saka sina Ma'am Sonia, alam mo naman yan is ang first thing first ang makakalikasan ng mga tao niyan. So, yun iyan, it needs strong collaboration as it challenges. Paano mo lalawakin? Yung kalapit bayan mo lang, dapat maikayat natin because we cannot do it alone.
Thank you po, sir.
Thank you so much, Mayor Ed. Tama yung sinabi ni Mayor Ed, follow up and follow through. And talagang based on experience, nakita ko kasi how they implemented it down to the tricycle drivers, down to the community members, diba, lahat ng institution, schools, subdivisions, etc. Talagang may collaboration. Aside from that, meron din with NGO partners. So that's very interesting implementation for San Fernando. Ngayon mapunta naman tayo kay Councilor Doray. Naku, alam mo sobrang exciting yung, kung hindi exciting usapin natin, exciting din yung balitaktakan sa comment section na talagang gusto ko lang i-mention. Very interesting kasi yung isang nabasa ko kay Councilor Doray. Maganda yung na-mention niya rito sa comment kasi may nagtatanong, 'di ba? May nagtatanong sa comment section. Mukhang yung plastic daw ata is may implementation pa sa ibang malls at stores. Ang comment naman ni Councilor Doray, name the store and mall. I-penalize natin kasi as of now, bawal. Ako gustong-gusto ko yung mga sagot na yan. Can you comment on that, Councilor? Gusto ko malaman ng thoughts mo dyan.
Kasi nga, again, 2012, nagsingil na tayo ng 2 pesos for the plastic bag fee. I passed it 2019, dapat 2020 i-implement na total ban of plastic bags, and then sumabog yung pandemic. So dapat March 2020 total ban na yan ng plastic bags. Medyo nayanig yung buong mundo at yung Pilipinas sa pandemya. So inusog namin. So ang implementation ng total ban ng plastic bags sa lahat sa buong Quezon City is March 2021 of this year. So kaya ang sinasabi ko, pangalanan niyo yung store kasi ngayon dapat wala na talaga silang plastic bags. Kahit man ibenta yon or kahit libre, dapat wala ng plastic bags sa mga tindahan. So yun. So anyway, to answer your initial question, what are the hurdles? I have to say all my plastic ordinances dumaan sa butas ng karayom. Hindi lang 1 buwan, hindi lang 2 buwan. It took almost a year bago ko to maipasa. Lahat nito because I wanted to make sure na merong tamang public hearing and consultation. And when you say public hearing and consultation, siguro mga 5 or 6 yon na sunod-sunod. And I really made sure to invite everyone. Like, kunwari, for example, yung mall ng Trinoma, hindi lang Trinoma ang a-attend, kundi lahat ng mga stores na nandoon kailangan mag-attend ng public consultation. Para wala silang dahilan na hindi nila alam, hindi sila aware of that. So, yun nga, the thing nga lang ngayon, as of now, the major hurdle that we had to face is yun nga, yung pandemic. Because number 1, there was an additional number of plastic wastes in the form of face shields, face masks, and all the other PPEs and all the other COVID items. So likewise, yung na-mention nga ni Consi rin kanina, gumawa rin kami ng ordinansa sa Quezon City to regulate and para bantayan yung mga plastic wastes. Kasi nakikita naman natin na yung mga face mask, face shield, nakakalat na lang sa kalye. So meron din kaming ordinanseng ganon. Kasi it's also considered plastic. And pangalawa, it's hazardous. Ayaw nga nating magka-COVID, pero useless naman na nag-face mask, face shield tayo, pero nakakalat rin naman sila sa kalsada. Di po ba? So yun. But with regards to the question about the national agencies and the organizations supporting us, Quezon City is very lucky because number 1, ang office ng DENR nasa Quezon City. Number 2, almost all the environmental NGOs, nabanggit na kanina, Mother Earth Foundation, Eco Waste Coalition, and all the other NGOs na environmental related are all based in Quezon City. So nung dumaan ako sa butas ng karayong, ang kakampi ko sa lahat ng mga public consultations ay ang mga NGOs na ito. Talagang full force sila. So, yun. We are very thankful in Quezon City because, again, we are one of those cities na nag-umpisa nitong mga plastic ordinances. And though malaki yung mga madami or malaki yung mga nagprotesta at the start, marami rin naman pong sumuporta sa amin. Kaya rin naisakatuparan natin at naipasa natin ng batas and maganda rin yung implementation dito sa aming lungsod.
Thank you, Councilor Doray. And please also count us in as your supporters sa inyong mga plastic ordinances.
Yes, please. Please, I will contact you guys. Marami pa kaming nakalinya.
Office din po namin nasa Quezon City din. So ayan, dumako naman tayo kay Councilor Alvin. Actually, itong episode na to is actually in partnership with Oceana Philippines and yung Interfacing Development Interventions for Sustainability. And sila po yung nag-recommend kay Councilor Alvin Dizon and Councilor Mahipus to be part of this episode. So we're very thankful talaga for this partnership with them. And sir, siguro could you talk about those partnership lang din? And yung initial question po kung ano yung mga challenges so far sa implementation and yung partnerships nyo with civil society organizations and other entities po.
Bago po sagutin ko yung tanong, Ayan, I just want to commend our youth panelist here, si Adrian, no, for his exemplary work in creating a future for for sustainability, no, for being so active, no, sa climate action advocacies natin, no. I have no doubt that our youth remains a source of hope and inspiration. So to answer the question, ano yung mga major challenges or hurdles in implementing the ordinance dito po sa Cebu City, specifically as far as our ordinance banning single-use plastics in all public events, I would say that it is yet to be fully implemented. No? I think the pandemic has stalled the implementation of the ordinance, no? Given the prohibition on holding public gatherings. Yung ordinance naman natin on the proper disposal of face masks, the IRR is now being formulated, and we believe that this measure should be given priority in view of the massive plastic waste we are generating, no? Because of this pandemic. So, so notwithstanding these challenges and hurdles, I believe na we can win this battle. No, we can win this fight against plastic pollution. We only need to work together and collaborate with civil society groups. Kami po sa local government, importante talaga na we need to collaborate with various stakeholders, no? Lalo na yung mga civil society groups at yung mga kabataan, no? Kagaya ni Adrian.
Thank you so much, Councilor Alvin. Yes, totoo talaga yung sinabi niya. Talagang dapat we have to work together. Diba talagang hindi lang dapat LGU yan eh. Dapat talagang pati civil society, diba? Private companies, lahat po, diba? Para masolusyonan natin. Kasi alam naman natin kung ano yung problema, diba? Dapat sama-sama tayo magtutulungan. And thank you so much to Councilor Alvin, diba? For starting that up in Cebu, diba? So talagang very insightful talaga. Maraming salamat po, Councilor Alvin. Let's now move on. Move on naman tayo ngayon sa ating Davao City Councilor, si Councilor Mahipus. Let's find out ano naman po yung naging challenges ninyo when you're implementing and planning, kahit sa planning stage. Baka may mga challenges na rin po yan. And ano po ba yung naging level of collaboration natin sa iba't ibang stakeholders sa Davao City? On to you, Councilor Mahipus.
Thank you, Aimee. Dito naman sa amin, I'm so happy na yung ating mga environmental groups, they are very active and in fact, they really participate, no? They sit in so many bodies dito sa policy-making bodies sa city, in the Development Council, in the Watershed Council, in our Solid Waste Board. Tumutulong talaga sila sa pag-craft ng mga policies ng Davao. And Davao City is always happy to have them, no? And to hear from them. Specifically, I'm thinking yung EDIS tsaka yung Sustainable Davao Movement for really helping the committee helping me and helping the city in crafting meaningful legislation for the protection of the environment. And also sina Attorney Ramos sa Oceania, yung Eco Waste, and dito ngayon, salamat na imbitahan ako ng Climate Reality. But of course, I would also thank the DNR 11 under the leadership of Red Bagani Evasco. Kasi he's very supportive also sa efforts ng local ng LGU para makapasar ng mga ordinansa na nakakatulong. So basically, dito naman sa Davao kasi everybody's really helping each other. Sometimes meron tayong mga different opinions, but at the end of the day, we all work together for a common purpose. Now, if you're also asking me what do I need from the CSO and from other national government agencies, ang hinihingi ko talaga sana dito sa Solid Waste Management Council, kung sana makumpleto na yung NIAP list natin. Kasi ito yung isang hiningi sa akin eh. They want the total, people also want the total eradication of all those unnecessary single-use plastics. Pero I told them that under the national law, we need the declaration of the Solid Waste Management Council because sila yung binigyan ng law ng authority to declare what is non-environmentally acceptable. Now, if they have that list already and they complete that list, I think that will be very helpful in our efforts to totally eradicate itong mga unnecessary single-use plastic. Not just regulate. Pwede na pati sa sale, pwede na natin. Kasi generally speaking, ordinances cannot really prohibit trade. It can only regulate it. Now, doon naman sa CSOs, I'm hoping that it will also help the city in campaigning for yung use of reusable items because our ordinance trust is not really para i-eliminate yung SUP and only to find another disposable item. Ang gusto natin talaga, sabi din ni Mayor Sara, is you inform the people that the campaign is to use reusable items, wag na yung disposable. And sa DOST tsaka sa DNR, ang hinihingin ko sana yung R&D. Kasi nung nakausap ko yung food and beverage industry, Aimee and Ian, ang kanilang tanong sa akin, attorney, ang dami mong pinagbawal sa regulate. Paano yan? Saan kami hahanap ng alternative? Sabi ko, meron naman kasi may nakita ko. Sabi na, alam mo ba attorney, kayo lang yung nagbawal ng leads. Saan kami hahanap nung kapalit ng leads? Sabi ko, meron yung technology, yung sugarcane bagas, marami, sabi ko. So, kausapin natin yung DOST at DNR na i-improve yung natin, yung R&D, tsaka capacity building ng LGU para sa mga diversion mechanism ng LGUs. So basically, that's it. No? Walang problema sa Davao City. Everybody's helping each other and we are very proactive also in asking help dun sa mga relevant agencies. At the end of the day, we want everybody to help for a common purpose, itong protection of the environment.
Thank you, sir. And we're very much with you talaga dun sa NAIAP list na yan. Yung law natin on RA 900320, more than 20 years old na and wala pa ring NAIAP list. Siguro kung nagkaroon lang NAIAP list before, wala tayong plastic crisis na kinakaharap ngayon. And thank you, sir. Ipaparating din po namin sa DOST and DNR yung support na hinihingi nila from your end po. And ayun nga po, talagang napakadaming pagsubok pa tayong kinakaharap para tuluyang matanggal talaga yung single-use plastic sa ating lipunan. But I'm very proud of what our local leaders have accomplished so far. Siguro yung importante rin ngayon ay yung tinatawag nating knowledge exchange and skill sharing kumaga among our local government units, mga NGAs, private businesses, and of course the civil society. Siguro itong round na to, sa next round natin of questions, very briefly na lang po siguro sagutin ng ating mga speakers sa questions na ito. Ano yung siguro tips or major insights or best practices lang ng inyong LGU na pwedeng ibahagi sa ibang LGUs din? And siguro sa mas controversial na tanong ay kung in favor kayo or support kayo dun sa nationwide ban or regulation of plastics. Alam naman natin na merong House Bill ngayon na approved na on second reading na seeks to ban yung single-use plastics through a period po of 4 years. And then urging extended producers' responsibility from our private sector companies. So just those two questions po, tips and best practices that you can share to other LGUs. And second, if you are supportive of the nationwide ban of single-use plastics. Kasi po may epekto rin po to sa plastic ordinance, sa local ordinances po din po nila, di ba? So why or why not? So let's start po with Mayor Ed. Sir?
Sir, okay, thank you, Ian. Although the city does not have, we're not claiming the best solid waste management practices. However, I can say that we have established something in managing.
Sir, pwedeng forward konti para marinig.
I can say that we have established something in managing our plastic pollution on the part of like business establishment and the barangay. So nakipag-cooperate sila. So non-compliant business and retailer will be penalized and cancellation of up to the class business permits classification. So may ngipin na. Hindi yung talagang ini-implement na. So the people who are aware, at saka yung mga barangay on the other hand, natuto silang transport yung mga mixed waste will not be permitted on the MRF natin kung hindi sila segregated. So ang plastic makikita mo na talagang nakasegregate na. So yan ang pinakamagandang tsaka kumukonti yung mga residual waste, yung diverted waste naman pinakikinabangan. Kaya ang plastic is makikita mo yan, may MOA na kami sa mga ibang gumagamit ng plastic like the cement factory. For every tons of plastic na nabibigay sa kanila, pinapalitan nila ng simwento. Yun ang maganda. So that is nakuha natin in terms of benefits. And of course, yung plastic pollution. So, nakikita mo, nakatipid tayo sa pag-maintain ng ating mga kanal, tributaries, down to halos malaki ang nabawasan ng pag nagdidistribute tayo, kukunti na lang ang plastic. So that is the thing that nakuha natin sa pagmamando ng plastic. So 100% support for nationwide banning of the single-use plastic. Yan ang kailangan natin. Although we cannot totally eliminate yung plastic, at least pinakita natin na we can really manage and yung regulate yung plastic. Ayan. Yun lang, ayan.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mayor Ed. May sasabihin ka pa yan. Go ahead.
Sir, dun sa second question lang po, dun sa if they're in favor po of the nationwide ban on single-use plastics?
Yung 100% support for nationwide banning plastic, ng use of plastic, yan ang kailangan natin eh. Sinabi ko nga kanina na dapat yan ang Pilipinas talaga is maano natin because we are rich in natural resources, lalo na sa marine life, para babalik yung kayamanan natin dati. Kung lahat ay susuporta. Kaya ako inaangaan ko yung ating mga kasamang speaker ngayon. They really push for this banning and regulating plastic. Sana, ayan, sana all. Sana all eh. Sana gayahin ng Quezon City, gayahin ng Davao, yung kabataan. Dapat lahat eh. lahat is ano, para, alam mo, lalo na ngayong pandemya, isa lang ang maitutulong mo. Sabi ko nga, kung wala kang maitutulong, huwag ka nang sumama sa napakalaking problema na buong mundo yan eh. So I rather be a part of the solution rather than a big problem eh. Kaya dapat ang national government ay ano ito talagang ma-implement na. Sabi ko nga isama na sa SGLGN yung Seal of Good Local Governance. Bakit? Quezon City, Davao, yung mga kasamahan natin ngayon, nagagawa nila. Bakit yung iba hindi nagagawa? Diba? Tsaka, we see yung mga advantages on the cost-benefit analysis. Marami ang favorable. Marami ang advantages. Diba? Tsaka yung mga tao natutuwa na sa San Fernando, nakasanayan na yan Hindi na pinalalusot yan Lahat ng tindahan, binalik yung dyaryo, binalik yung mga resulatable basket. Hindi nakatipid din sila. At saka, binabalik natin yung dati. Alam mo kasi yan, ang Pilipinas napakaganda lang. Napakaganda ng Pilipinas. Nasira lang dahil sa hindi tama yung pagmamando. Kaya karampasan lang na ang national government ay ipa-implement na sa lahat ito para masaya, maging maunlad at makakalikasan ng Pilipinas. Darami ang pabor, darami ang ating benefits.
Thank you so much, Mayor Ed. Naku, napasana, hashtag sana all si Mayor Ed kanina, no? And that's true, 'di ba? Narinig sana ng ibang LGUs 'yon, 'di ba? Kung nakaya, 'di ba, ng iba't ibang mga LGUs na nasa panel natin ngayon, bakit naman hindi sa kanila, no? So talagang magandang challenge 'yon para sa iba nating mga LGUs, 'di ba? So maraming salamat, Mayor Ed. Maraming salamat. On to you naman, Councilor Doray. Ano naman po ang mga best practices na gusto mong i-share? At the same time, are you in support po of our nationwide ban on the regulations of plastic?
Yes, siguro my advice to other LGUs who are interested in also passing the same ordinances, you could follow what we did sa Quezon City. Kung nahihirapan po silang i-total ban ang plastic, unti-untiin po muna natin yung ating taong bayan. So what we did nga po, una, ni-regulate muna natin. So bayad ka ng 2 piso kung gusto mo ng plastic para magkaroon sila ng lifestyle change na magbaon na sila ng sarili nilang eco bag pag namimili. So now, since nasanay na yung mga taga Quezon City na may dala silang eco bag parate, then saka namin pinasa yung total ban of plastic bags. So yun po, kung we can do that sa mga ibang LGUs kung nahihirapan po kayo. Gayon din po sa amin pong single-use plastics, hindi po muna namin tinotal ban. Ang binan muna namin ay yung pag-dine-in. Pero pag take-out, pwede muna. Pero eventually, pag nasanay na rin po ulit yung mga taga-QC, ito-total ban na rin po natin yung single-use plastic sa mga take-out na mga food sa mga restaurants po natin. And siguro, lastly, again, feeling ko, hindi ko sure kung kami lang po ang city na ganito or baka isa sa mga nauna, yung nabanggit po kanina since magkakampanyahan na naman at mag-eleksyon, sana po sa mga LGUs po, iba na rin po natin yung mga plastic campaign materials. Tarpaulins, pwede pa po kasi makapal po yan. Pwede po nating ma-reuse and ma-recycle. Pero yung mga plastic na campaign materials na para siyang mura lang po kasi yun, parang 2 piso lang. Para siyang plastic bag talaga, tas may mukha ng kandidato, baka pwedeng iba na rin po natin sa ating mga cities. And as for the last question, of course, we in Quezon City, headed by Mayor Joy Belmonte, Vice Mayor Gian Soto, and all the councilors, we are in total support of the nationwide ban or regulation against plastics. Actually, nanonood nga po tayo ng mga committee hearings regarding that, and parati pong nami-mention yung mga ordinansa namin sa Quezon City. And ako naman personally, I'm very much willing to be invited as a resource speaker or a guest speaker sa mga committee hearings nila kung kailangan. Yun lang po.
Thank you, Councilor Doray. For sure, marami talagang mapupulot ang ibang mga LGUs na wala pang sigurong plastic ordinances sa kanilang komunidad sa naging experience niyo po sa Quezon City. Dako naman tayo kay Councilor Alvin Dizon. Sir, ano po yung sagot nila? Ano po yung ibabahagi?
Yes. Well, maganda yung ordinance ng Quezon City banning plastic campaign materials. At in view of the forthcoming elections sa 2022, baka kami po dito sa Cebu City, we will adopt yung ordinance ni Councilor Doray, no? Going to replicate yung ordinance, yung legislative measure ni Councilor Doray dito po sa Cebu City. One insight that we could share, no, is this approach in our legislative work called collaborative legislation. Nabanggit ko na po ito kanina. So we strongly encourage people's initiative in our policy work, no? Which means that the people themselves may propose specific policies, ordinances, and resolutions that concern their sectors and submit these measures to our office for sponsorship. This kind of engagement was instrumental, no, in the passage of our climate action-related measures, yung mga ordinance natin na nabanggit kanina. No? And I would also say that our legislative accomplishments were made possible because we were supported by groups and individuals like Climate Reality Philippines, like Oceana, Eco Waste Coalition, Greenpeace Philippines, no, who are really taking concrete actions, no, to take care of our environment. For the best practice, siguro since the start of the pandemic, kami po dito sa Cebu City, the members of the City Council are now institutionalizing the practice of a plastic-free sessions and caucuses. So we're no longer using itong mga plastic water bottles, no? Instead, we're using water tumblers during our meetings, caucuses, and during our special and regular sessions. Sa tanong naman kung ano yung position ko regarding nationwide ban or regulation of plastics, well, ang sagot ko, we have long emphasized our strongest support for a nationwide ban on regulations of plastics, on the belief that we could exact more compliance with our measures at the local level when we have a national policy against single-use plastic. In 2019, I sponsored a resolution strongly supporting the passage of Senate Bill number 40, also called the Single-Use Plastic Regulation and Management Act of 2019, which proposes a ban on using, importing, and manufacturing all single-use plastics and providing incentives to business and to consumers, authored by Senator Kiko Pangilinan. And finally, Ayan, I just would like to mention that I am supporting, in my humble capacity as a local legislator, the planned lawsuit of Oceana and other concerned groups against the Solid Waste Management Commission for its gross failure to implement relevant provisions of the Ecological Waste Management Act, which have worsened, no, the plastic pollution we are facing in our country. Yan lang po. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Councilor Alvin. Naku, maraming salamat. Yung nabanggit ni Councilor Alvin, talaga leading by example, di ba? Yan yung nabanggit niya kanina. And maraming salamat din po for your stand, di ba? Yung nabanggit niyo with your stand with Oceana. against yung ano po, yung support natin kasi nakita natin no, ang tagal na rin po nung yung Ecological Solid Waste Management Act, and syempre gusto na natin ng accountability. So maraming salamat po sa inyo, Councilor Alvin. Let's now move on. Move on naman tayo no sa ating ang ating panghuling, 'di ba? Ang ating panghuling speaker. Let's all hear it from Councilor Mahipus. Ano naman po ang pwede niyong i-share na best practices at sa mga insights, and syempre ano po ang inyong stand? Ano po ba ang stand niyo in terms of the national, diba, national ban or regulation of plastics dito po sa Pilipinas?
Sa akin po, ito, totoo po, medyo mahirap yung baguhin yung mga nakasanayan. No? Minsan may mga taong hindi pa nakakaintindi. Okay sa ating mga kabataan kasi they are very apprised of the na talaga situation that we need to do something to protect the environment. We can continue with the status quo. Pero yung mga iba, we need to educate them. Dito naman sa amin, sa legislative work, major insight ko, kasi first termer pa ako, Aimee. Nagpapasalamat lang ako kasi yung aming vice mayor, si Vice Mayor Sebastian Duterte, masyadong yung supportive sa mga environmental protection causes. So, parehas kami first termer. So sabi niya, Councilor, pagtulungan natin, gusto ng executive, i-expand natin yung policy. So, hindi ako nahirapan, tsaka masarap din kung yung ating mga grupo, kagaya ng EDs, tsaka ng Sustainable Davao Movement, 100% tumutulong talaga sa atin. So, this is really short of saying that we need collaborative work pagdating sa mga ganitong mga efforts. We can reach so much, do so much if everybody is willing to participate and help. And I'm so happy that even through this Climate Reality Project, we are calling upon the people of the Philippines na magtulungan tayo. And in fact, itong platform ngayon, sinare ko talaga sa mga constituents ko kasi I'm also asking them to help the city implement and enforce our environmental protection related ordinances. Now, yung pagdating sa national banning, well, I can really say na I am for it because we have to be practical ba. Why would we continue using necessary items? Its use is no longer justified. Meron namang mas sustainable products. Bakit natin ipagpatuloy yun? We understand that there will be consequences dun sa industry, nung plastic industry. But we have to also be responsible, not only for the people of today, but also for the people of tomorrow. For after all, sabi nga, di ba, we are just borrowing this world from the future generations. So, let's do something about the status quo, and perhaps maybe next year or months from now we can meet each other and hopefully medyo meron na namang mga milestones tayo. Yun lang po.
Thank you so much, Councilor. Yes, naku, excited kami dyan ni Ian. Of course, we want, sana may next round pa tayo, no? Next year, ulitan natin, tingnan natin ano nga yung mga milestone, di ba? Kasi magandang malaman yan, di ba? Always, as always, when you do programs, you do ordinances, gusto rin natin may measures of success. No? Tingnan natin ano na po ba yung levels of success, ano na yung improvements. Magandang malaman po yan. And to add to that, Councilor Mahipus, sabi nga, we're very, very fortunate kasi even our President, Department of Finance, diba, and the Climate Change Commission is very supportive of the national ban. So sana magtuloy-tuloy talaga siya, diba? That's what we want to see. And syempre, given that meron na rin tayong ordinances per LGU, naku, tingin ko mas magiging maganda pa yung suporta per LGU. So maraming salamat po. Naku, very, very insightful talaga yung na-share ng ating mga local leaders ngayong hapon. Clearly, diba, a robust coordination, collaboration, and complementation of efforts among stakeholders is needed para talaga mapagtagumpayan natin itong hangarin natin na gawing mas sustainable at circular ang ating economic system. Syempre, naku, bago naman natin i-cap off ang event na ito, syempre, alamin naman natin ang reaction ng ating youth sector. Naku, balikan natin si Adrian. Anong say ng kabataan sa mga challenges, best practice, at iba pang binahagi ng ating mga local leaders sa segment na ito? On to you, Adrian.
Ayun, umpisahan ko po sa sana all, no? kung nakaya po ng mga LGU, ng mga malalaking LGU po ng ating mga major cities to implement these policies, I'm very sure na if our local government units coming from smaller LGUs, no, yung ating leaders sa mga smaller LGUs could actually hear and have a glimpse of how they implement it in their cities, na kasi totoo po na yung business sector yung pinaka, at saka yung mga hospitals po yung pinakakalaban natin, no, in our fight against single-use plastics. So baka kung kaya po ng mga malalaking LGUs to implement this, for sure, baka po ay kayanin din, no? Kaya din ng ating ibang mga LGU. So sana all, no? Sana all po ay napakinggan natin ito. Tsaka interesado din po sila ma-implement yung mga ganitong polisiya. Mag-agree po ako doon sa sinabi din ni Mayor Ed na napakaganda ng Pilipinas, kaso ay nasira lang. So sana po ilalagay ko din, no, sa discussion yung nasabi din ni Councilor Alvin na collaboration of different sectors, especially during this pandemic. We have realized na napaka-importante na makita natin yung role yun ng bawat sektor dun sa implementasyon ng mga batas ng mga polisiyang inilatag para dito sa pandemic. So sana ganoon din po kapag pinag-usapan natin na environment. Makita din po ng iba't ibang sectors kung ano po yung mga roles nila ng mga private sectors, ang ating mga senior citizens, no, ng mga kabataan. Sana po ay mag-collaborate tayo, pag-usapan natin ito kung paano natin, kung ano pa yung mga magagawa natin para ma-forward yung mga ganitong mga advokasya. At syempre, salamat din po sa ating mga LGU na hindi po nami-miss yung opportunity to show, no, their support to bills in the Senate and in the House of Reps na may pasa yung mga ganitong proposed or mga bills na ganito sa pamamaraan din ng mga legislative measures gaya ng pag-issue ng mga resolusyon. So sana po yung mga LGUs natin na nakikinig dito ay magawa din po natin ito, yung mga resolutions na ito, at may paabot natin sa national government. Yung mga LGUs natin ay in full support of this proposed policies. And of course, bilang po representative of the youth, I just hope to also hear more about opportunities that we can give the young people so that they can engage in these programs. I hope na hindi po natin makalimutan yung mga kabataan. At kasama po yung iba't ibang sektor, yung mga fisher folks natin sa mga LGUs natin, yung mga farmers, yung mga urban poor. Sana po ay malagyan at mabigyan po natin sila ng enough na opportunities to actually be heard as well. Yung mga comments nila, yung mga suggestions nila, para mas may paintigin po yung implementasyon ng ating mga ordinansa at may mabawasan po natin yung mga tao nagkakaroon ng penalty dahil dahil sa walang silang kakayahan na sumunod sa mga itong mga ordinansa. And I'm just happy that Councilor Mahipus also mentioned the collaboration that we have to strengthen with DOST and DENR, because our fight for single-use plastics is a science-based issue din po siya. So kailangan din po natin palakasin pa yung contribution ng DOST sa DENR. Meron po ako mga nakikitang progress dun sa mga research ng DOST ng mga science students. Kaya sana po hanapan po natin ng paraan kung paano po ma-commercialize at paano po maging accessible yung mga ganitong mga products as alternatives to single-use plastics. So on behalf po ng mga kabataan, maraming salamat po, especially po ng mga kabataan dito sa Iloilo. Maraming salamat po sa pagbibigay ng oportunidad sa amin, sa pagtitiwala sa aming mga kabataan na kami po ay parte ng ating laban para sa kalikasan. So maraming salamat po sa pag-iisip para sa amin at we hope to, we're also looking forward to meeting you all soon and to also present to you some of the works of Ilonggos, of provincianos over here. So maraming salamat po.
Salamat, Adrian. Napakaganda yung point mo on how you emphasized yung need for meaningful spaces for the youth, for civil society organizations in addressing talaga this plastic crisis. So at this point, kulang na tayo sa oras. We would just like siguro to seek 1 to 2 sentences, closing messages from our guest speakers. Let's start po with Mayor.
Okay, unang-una, ayan, nagpapasalamat ako sa programa natin, sa advokasya natin, at sa ating mga kasamang panawin ngayon. So from Quezon City, from Davao, at saka si Councilor Alvin, Dizon, at saka yung kasama natin sa youth. At sa ating mga kababayan, magsama-sama tayo dito sa layunin ng ating mga may advokasya yung nakapag-implement na sabi ko nga, para sa ating lahat ito. Balik ang dating Pilipinas na makakalikasan at ang Pilipinas ay isa sa mayamang bansa. Sabi ko nga, hindi ko matanggap na bakit mayamang bansa pero yung mga nakatira ay naghihirap. So, isa lang ang pamamaraan dyan, kalikasan. At isa dyan, ang pagmamando ng plastic at ng ating waste. Mabuhay kayo lahat.
Thank you so much. Naku, ang ganda ng sinabi talaga ni Mayor Ed. Sabi niya talagang maganda, 'di ba? Ibalik natin ang ganda ng Pilipinas kasi talagang maganda. Maganda talaga ang Pilipinas. Alam naman po natin 'yan. Huwag nating kakalimutan 'yan, 'di ba? So salamat, maraming salamat Mayor Ed. I hope meron pa tayong future collaborations in the future, 'di ba? On to you naman, Councilor Doray. Ano naman po ang final words natin before we proceed?
Yes, thank you for inviting me again. I'm always open. Dito lang tayo sa QC. Siguro may message to everybody para maisakatuparan natin na gusto nating pagandahin ulit ang Pilipinas, mabawasan ng basura, mabawasan ng plastic. Hindi po to kaya ng gobyerno o ng LGU na mag-isa. Kailangan po tulong-tulong po tayo. Political will sa ating mga leaders, syempre disiplina sa ating mga mamamayan, mga netizens, and of course, suporta din galing sa ating mga negosyante at ang mga NGO natin. Kailangan po lahat tayo tulong-tulong, sama-sama po tayo dito. Hindi po to kaya ng iisang organisasyon lang, kundi po pagtutulong-tulungan po natin lahat. Yun lang po, maraming salamat.
Thank you, Councilor Doray. Sir Dizon, Councilor Dizon?
Well, again, thank you to Climate Reality Project and Luciana for this invitation to be a part of this very relevant online discussion. This discussion for the last 2 hours only shows that local government units can be frontline in presenting concrete solutions in passing better policies for the environment. Sabi ko nga kanina, yung battle natin against plastic pollution is a battle we can win. We can only do that with everyone's full participation and commitment. Para naman po sa ating mga kabataan at sa ating mga ordinary citizens na nakikinig sa atin ngayon, we don't need to be a politician to do our share. We just need to be responsible and environmentally conscious citizens in order to unleash the green warriors within us. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you so much, Councilor Alvin. Ang ganda na unleash the green warrior. Gusto ko yon. Parang magandang mantra yon. No? Unleash the green warrior. Maganda yan, guys. No? Sana nga lahat tayo, di ba? With the help of the LGUs, lahat tayo, di ba? It's our responsibility, not just the LGUs. So maraming salamat for pointing that out, Councilor Alvin. Maraming salamat po. And of course, finally, let's move on to Councilor Mahipus. Ano naman po ang inyong words of encouragement, final words sa ating mga viewers ngayon?
Nagpapasalamat lang po ako sa inyo, Aimee and Ian, sa Climate Reality Project. Tsaka masarap po na naging parte nito at nakasama ko si Councilor Doray po. Binabasa ko po siya sa balita, sa news, yung kanyang advocacy sa against the plastic waste, no? Tsaka si Councilor Alvin, and of course si Mayor Edwin, para bang siya yung ano natin di ba, yung nagka-award din sa ang San Fernando sa plastic free. Masaya ako at lalo na nandito si Adrian kasi we are hearing also the inputs and the voice of the youth sector. Yun lang po siguro, no, this is just a part of Davao City's journey towards a plastic free city kasi yun ang ano natin yung objective natin, tsaka yung zero waste campaign, kasali kami doon kasi alam namin sa future habang lumalaki yung city tsaka yung Pilipinas, dumadami yung tao, dumadami din yung basura, if we continue with the rate that we are producing waste and we do not intervene right now, paano yun? Saan papunta yung basura natin? Nasa dagat na lahat. We have to arrest this situation, no, na yung sa create measures for the reduction dun sa waste production, sa waste segregation, waste diversion, tsaka yung sa waste disposal systems natin. And I'm just so happy that we are all here as one, helping each other. Kasi actually, I take inspiration from the works also of the other LGUs, dun sa kay Councilor Dorothy, tsaka kay Councilor Alvin, kay Mayor Edwin, and the rest of the LGUs. So hopefully, we can collaborate in the future. And I hope this is not the last time that we will be seeing each other and discussing things. And I'm sure we can all contribute to also help, no, further the measures that we are proposing for our individual LGUs. So I think I will also join the call for every youth and everybody to already participate in this call to action. Kung wala na kasing ibang panahon, maubos na yung ating resources, wala na. Ito na yon, panahon na yon na gusto natin na makatulong tayo. So maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat.
Thank you, Councilor Mahipus. Adrian, final words.
Ayun, for me po, siguro sana po magkaroon pa ng mas maraming opportunity yung mga LGUs natin na makapag-usap. No, kasi I think one of the greatest fear din po ng ating mga government officials, yung mga politicians, ay baka matalo sila sa susunod na eleksyon kapag nagpo-push po sila sa mga ganitong polisiya. Kasi in Iloilo po, it's true na naibalik po doon sa government official na nag-push for plastic ordinance yung issue noon during election at saka natalo po siya. So tumatak po yun sa mga isip ng aming mga government officials. So sana po magkaroon pa po kayo ng mga opportunities na makapag-usap-usap at kung paano nyo po ito na naipanalo. Si Councilor Dorothy, ilang terms na po for sure. Narinig ko po kayo 2012 po niya unang na-introduce yung policy at hanggang ngayon po ay nandyan pa rin siya sa posisyon. So I'm very sure, I will be happy also to hear if we can invite more LGU officials, councilors to also listen as to how you implement these policies in your LGUs for them to learn as well and to effectively campaign for this strategies or advocacy here in the province. And then, ayun, maraming salamat po. I'm also looking forward to meet you all soon in person and I hope to also work with you soon din po. No? So thank you very much doon po sa ating mga kabataan. Let us not miss opportunities. Let us maximize our all possibilities na makapag-work together with our LGUs to make sure po, yung lagi ko pong sinasabi, dapat po ay malaman din kasi ng LGU na meron po mga taong willing na tumulong sa kanila from the ground, no, from non-government organization. So sana po ay maintindihan natin, ma-appreciate natin yung beauty of collaborating with our local government officials to help them with crafting policies to make sure that they deliver proactive and people-oriented policies for the sustainability of our community. So maraming salamat po from us. Padayon po ang ating kausa. Dito po sa amin, padayon ang kausa para po sa ating mga komunidad. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you so much, Adrian. Naku, maraming salamat. Medyo ang ganda ng balitaktakan natin dito, Ian. Ano? Kahit marami tayong gustong basahin sa Facebook, naku, mukhang hindi na natin kakayanin. So we really encourage all of our speakers to please take the time. No? Kung may time po kayo, basahin po ninyo yung mga comments. And hopefully you can address some of the questions that were addressed here para at least mas open yung communication platforms natin with our kababayans also. So maraming salamat po. Naku, sobrang very fortunate. I'm personally very fortunate to have met everybody in this group. Maraming salamat po for all of our speakers for your work, diba? To ensure that we are more sustainable. We're moving towards a more sustainable planet for the generations that will come after us. Again po, syempre, alam natin yung mga ordinances are there, diba? Nandiyan na po yung mga ordinances mula sa ating iba't ibang mga LGUs. Importante pa rin po yung boses natin, diba? Let's speak up, 'di ba? Kausapin po natin ang ating mga LGU leaders, especially ang ating mga speakers. Ngayon, kung meron tayong gusto, 'di ba, gustong i-recommend, etc. Pero always sa tamang forum po, 'di ba? Maganda pong gawin natin siya, responsibility natin, be accountable dun sa mga actions. At the same time, let's give also our feedback sa tama pong paraan, 'di ba? So, hopefully sa mga speakers natin. Hopefully, we will all meet again to continue our conversation. At sa pagkakataong iyon, sana mas laganap pa yung mga policy systems at pagkilos tungo sustainable consumption at production. Di ba, Ian?
Yes, alam mo Aim, sobrang dami talaga yung nag-reach out sa atin na marami talagang gustong mag-adopt na ng mas sustainable lifestyle pero hindi alam kung paano talaga mag-uumpisa. Kaya sana itong mga local leaders natin ay makapartner din talaga natin pa in the future to deliver information, to educate us, to always communicate yung mga initiatives sa communities, kung paano maiiwasan talaga yung paggamit ng plastic. And hopefully, our efforts here at the grassroots level will have, of course, a ripple effect sa ating mga national leaders para sila din ay manindigan para sa mas sustainable development and mas effective na pag-address sa ating kinakaharap na krisis sa klima.
That's true. Tama ka dyan. Correct ka dyan, Ian. Talagang very important na rinig natin, di ba? Yung suporta for a national ban across our speakers. So sana naman, di ba, makita natin ang improvement, ang development over the coming months. So I would really like to thank all of our viewers for coming, for joining us today. We hope we made this an insightful, interesting, and thought-provoking discussion. Muli, maraming salamat po sa ating mga speakers. Talaga namang yung efforts po ninyo para po mapanatili, di ba, ang sustainability at syempre yung mga efforts natin para tulungan ng ating communities labanan ng plastic. Talagang appreciated po at talagang malaki po ang naitutulong niyan sa atin. So before we end this podcast, we would like to remind everyone, please visit the Instagram page of the Climate Reality Project Philippines at Climate Reality PH and our Twitter account at Climate Real PH. You may also visit and follow the socials of our guest organizations. Yung mga handles po nila are gonna be flashed on the screen. Okay, maraming salamat po sa aming partners for this episode. syempre, gusto rin po namin ipaalala that this is Klimatotohanan, di ba? Ito po ay ating fortnightly webcast organized and led by our climate reality leaders to tackle urgent climate issues of today and tomorrow. Why Klimatotohanan? Because we need real talk and real action on the climate crisis. Magandang hapon po mga kaibigan. Maraming salamat po. Sana po magkita-kita tayo ulit sa susunod pa nating mga episodes.